Acceptance. The first light of the day is coalescing, and the word that buzzes around is acceptance. Acceptance in relationships, family relationships, love relationships, acceptance as the closing of a grieving process. If I go back in time, for me, like many other people with their parents, acceptance was an issue with my father. I had a mother who told me basically every day, directly or indirectly, how she accepted me. And then my father was the opposite. He never said it. On the contrary, he had a way of not accepting another person, which was hurtful. And he would tell me often that I was the exception, that was his way of showing unsatisfaction with his children. And it's such a twisted word because deception, calling another person a deception is rather strange. I mean, you can say, I'm disappointed at you, but then saying you are a deception puts it on the other person. And I always wanted my dad's approval for him to say, oh, that's so cool. Either what I was studying, either my efforts to improve myself, even working out. He always found it the wrong effort. I realize now that the only acceptable thing for him would have been to follow his steps, to be like him. Even drinking. Once I got older, I didn't like drinking like he did. And for him, that was unacceptable at some level. It all became a part of the deception, his disappointment, and not having a little look-alike in manner and a look-alike in following his steps in what he was doing as a business. So I carried that baggage of not being accepted by my dad, and to the very end, and when I spent like 3 months by his bedside in the hospital, I was hoping for a Hollywood-like moment where there will be an encounter and acceptance on both sides. But it was about me accepting him in his last days. He became the child, I was the parent. And maybe because of that hunger of acceptance on one parent, my mother again was fully accepting. But she moved on to another realm when I was young. So I was left without that support. And then I think in relationships, I have looked for that acceptance, almost like sometimes a replacement for the father acceptance I missed. So I know there are relationships where what I was lacking was being accepted, and that's all my very personal story. But to make it, it applies to everybody. The gift of acceptance, being accepted, how hungry we can be for that. There are different degrees of that. But lots of people are doing things out there to be accepted. The little kid who dreams of being a sports figure and scoring a goal in football or dribbling on the basketball court and having people cheer them up, becoming a celebrity. So many kids get engaged with that. They becoming a celebrity and spend energy pursuing sports or hits on YouTube or likes on Instagram because they are looking ultimately for acceptance. And the pursuit of this macro acceptance that ultimately is hollow, that pursuit is masking some other missing acceptance at the parent level, at the intimate relationship level. It's a wonderful gift we can give to another, acceptance, accepting them for what they are. Grown-ups, their lives, if we have a relationship, if we are capable of accepting them as dynamic beings. We are always changing. We can be honest and tell people about things that we feel about that maybe don't work for us, but who knows whose problem that is. But then there's the accepting of the human being at its core. And that's an extraordinary gift, an extraordinary gesture. It has all those elements of compassion, generosity, and celebration. I'm compassionate towards you and makes me understand your travails in life, your efforts, your suffering. And I'm giving you acceptance, is generosity. And it's celebration of who you are, celebration of life, celebration of who we are. Be sure you are giving acceptance to those in your inner circle. Vocalize it, express it in gestures, in actions, in words. And contemplate your own need for acceptance, whether there's an unfulfilled acceptance there that is driving you to be recording it, done, because maybe you are still waiting for daddy to say, you're okay. I appreciate who you are and what you have done in life, what you're doing in life. by being aware of that need of acceptance that it's not going to come from my father anymore, and it never came. I can also free my relationships from that weight, because this friend or this love or that love, they are not my father. They are not there to fulfill that role. Contemplate yourself, give acceptance. And then accepting losses, and accepting gains, accepting gifts, and enjoying. It's a form of acceptance. I find myself all the time telling myself, enjoy this fruta. Love having an orange in the morning, and I make an effort to enjoy it. Because sometimes I have had the orange and I have not enjoyed fully. I haven't been fully conscious of the fact that I have an orange. And when I'm enjoying it and aware of having the orange, it is so much more powerful and wonderful. And when I'm enjoying the fact that I'm going to step out and walk under the trees with the increasing light I see now, I'm enjoying that. And that's a form of acceptance. And then there is the accepting the losses. Accepting is supposed to be the last step of the grieving process, the stages of grieving, and it's almost a cliche of denial, negotiating, and so on until reaching acceptance. We had to take that carefully because those stages of grieving were explored and defined by somebody looking at people with a terminal disease. It was more like a self process, and then we have extended it to all losses. But there is any loss, ultimately there is an acceptance, because it's basically acknowledging inside us that yes, I have lost that. Yes, that relationship is over. I'm being hung on that relationship that ended almost 40 years ago. Part of me is there hoping. Part of me is still negotiating and denying that that relationship is over. I must accept that, not as an obligation, as a torture, but just as a stage I get to, because then I can fully move on. Then I can be fully participant in a new relationship as opposed to be hanging to an old one and hoping and having a little door open that is detrimental to this present relationship. Accept the losses, and accept that losses may bring in gifts. The money you lost, it may give you more humility. It may keep you from having too much. There's such a beauty in life to having little. For me, it's just wonderful. I don't have a house now. I don't have a car. And I like that. And then sometimes I want to, but it's more about other people, how they see me. They want me to have a house. Contemplate your own needs for acceptance, what is lacking, who are you seeking acceptance from, an absent parent, an intimate relationship, a partner, and give it yourself to others and to yourself. Self-acceptance, that's also so important. An acknowledgement of who we are and that we are here. Here I am. My genes gave me a destiny of, or a cast the dice in a way where I was supposed to live about 40 years at best. But here I am. Enjoy. It goes back to that enjoying. Enjoy your own presence. Accept yourself. Accept your contradictory feelings, your little and big failures, your striving. Because you had to start yourself, accepting yourself. How can you go to someone else and tell them, ask them, or hope they accept you when you are yourself carrying these doubts? Have I done the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I cute enough? Am I strong enough? Accept what you are, that you cannot change, and change what you can think you can do better or worse. And accept your losses, but for every loss you are struggling to accept, remember there are so many other gifts that you're also forgetting to accept. Accept the light of the morning, accept the orange flavor in your mouth, accept the birds singing, which I don't hear yet. There's another hurricane approaching and landing, and this eerie quality, eerie quietness. In Spanish we used to say la calma chicha. It's this deceiving calmness before a big storm. It's a term used mostly by sailors or fishermen, people out at sea, that they find a little disturbing, a sudden calmness, like calma chicha that precedes a big storm. And yes, maybe I'm realizing now that accepting the gifts, accepting the orange and the dawn and the birds and the trees, puts us in that mind of accepting, and that also allow us to accept losses, to close grieving processes, because we get into this acceptance mindset. And accept the many gifts, and then we see that that loss, well, we accept it, and it might be somehow part of the gifts, because it's gonna open me up to explore other possibilities. Where am I gonna live next? Who am I gonna be with next? What am I gonna do next? How I'm going to be there? How am I going to get there? How am I going to meet this person? How am I gonna share these words? Acceptance, accepting, aceptar. Accept.